Hi there. My name's Alexandra, and I'm in my mid-20s, and I've spent a majority of my life uh, caring for others and giving everything I could to animals, literally. I grew up training horses and rescuing dogs and cats and birds and guinea pigs and anything I could bring home and convince my mom that it needed love, pretty much. The video that I'm making now is pretty much raising awareness for those who don't know, because I realize today this might not be common knowledge for some people, even though I've seen it 100 times in my life, literally. Whether neighbors have done it or people I went to school with. This one hit me personally because the girl who did this actually used to be a friend of mine. We were really close for about 2 years. It's been since we had our falling out. Anyway, what you need to know is that I understand. I can relate, and I'm realistic when it comes to animals. And when I say that, I mean I've rescued and I've volunteered and I've spent a lot of money that I'll probably never see again for animals because they can't do it for themselves. Whether it's worming, or they broke their leg, or they have mange, they have fleas or ticks, or somebody dumped them on the side of the road, or they haven't eaten in a week, or I've shown up to auction houses and bought horses for a few $100s to save them from my meat van, knowing that when they leave here they're going to go somewhere else and pick up another 5 or 6 horses. You know what I mean? It's unrealistic to think that you could save all of them, even if one person adopted a dog. If every person in the world adopted a dog, 2 dogs, 3 dogs, you'd never save them all. Same with horses, you can't save them all. And a lot of that has to do with us as a society, not only in America, but in a lot of other countries as well. Mainly because we're irresponsible pet owners, I'll be honest with you. On a lot of cases, you see stallions were left in a field with 15 mares, and the stallion just wasn't gelded, so he knocked them all up, and then you doubled and tripled your numbers quickly. Before you know it, you have, same with dogs, you went from 1 dog to 2 dogs, they bred, and now you have 15 dogs, like you can, you know what I mean? So that's all our fault, really. I mean, we could prevent it if we wanted to, but really that's not the awareness that I'm trying to bring up today. This girl that I had the falling out with, I knew her back when, and recently she added me on Facebook, and me not thinking anything of it, I accepted it. You want to take the skeleton and throw them in the closet, bro. I'm all about starting fresh, good vibes, forgive and forget. Well, she added me about a month ago, and like I said, not thinking anything of it, I accepted it, and we didn't even really chit-chat. There's nothing really said. About a week ago, she posted on social media that she had adopted a dog, and me knowing her already, I already knew she had 2 dogs. She had a bloodhound mix male that she rescued, and a female that she rescued, like a lab beagle mix or something. She already had 2 dogs. Like I said, I have multiple dogs. I'm not, I know people with 15 dogs that still take care of other dogs. I'm not one to judge. So after I found out that she had adopted a dog, I moved on. I don't even think I liked the post because I don't care. Well, this morning when I was getting ready for work and I was Facebook scrolling, I stumbled across a status that she had posted tagging a different animal shelter. You need to know about the animal shelter that she adopted her new dog from. I grew up in that county. I know the director of the animal shelter, to the volunteers, to the animal control officers, to even deputies. My brother settled down there. My grandma still lives in the county. Like, small county in Virginia. Like, we're, small world, pretty much. I know them all, and that's totally fine with me. I love helping. I've volunteered a lot of time at a lot of different animal shelters in the state that I live in because I may be one person, but I believe that as one person I can make a difference in some way. Some people don't believe in superheroes, but if you work really hard, you might be able to be one. That's what I always tell myself anyway. So, I used to be somebody who cared about popularity. I was her friend, and we used to go out and get drunk and have fun and do all kinds of things, and now we don't, and I'm okay with that because I'm at a better place in life. I closed out a lot of people with negativity. They left my circle really small, but loyal. I have a loyal group of friends now. But back to my story. I woke up this morning, I was Facebook scrolling, and I stumbled across a status that she had posted, and it wasn't just any status. In the status, she had tagged a separate animal shelter in it, and was pretty much putting them on blast, calling them liars, They said they weren't a no-kill shelter. There were a lot of dots, so it was very vague. Well, once it's vague, you gotta scroll, you have to read the comments clearly. You gotta find out all the facts. So I'm scrolling, and it's like the third or fourth comment down, she says that they killed her dog. Fun fact about animal shelters, in case you didn't know, alright? There's two things, okay? Animal shelters are animal shelters. They're not vets, they're not animal hospitals, they are animal shelters. There are three ways to get into an animal shelter. You are picked up as a stray by animal control. You were owner surrender. Somebody came in and signed you off, didn't want you, couldn't take care of you, find them a home, blah, 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 whatever. Third is court ordered, whether the dog got caught eating livestock or the cat is in the middle of a divorce and two people want the dog, whatever. Those are the only ways you can get in an animal shelter. Okay, so when she says the animal shelter killed my dog, my first fucking question is, why is your dog in the animal shelter? Okay. Next thing you need to know about animal shelters is, as of 2013, a majority of animal shelters in the state that I live in, a lot of the counties, a lot of the small shelters, they actually are no-kill. You have specific counties and different states that have bans on certain breeds, or, that believe in overpopulation, so they, euthanize animals to make room for more animals. That's all different states. I don't know about those. I can tell you about Virginia. Majority of the ones in Virginia. So the only way for most dogs to get euthanized in a shelter here is one of two things. There was no rescuing them. Okay, when I say that, they came in and they were really suffering, and there was no way of saving them. The second is temperament. Okay, it's one thing if the dog doesn't like cats or dogs, that's fine. They'll never have to be adopted by somebody who has a cat or a dog. But if they're aggressive towards people, that's a problem, because dogs can't rescue other dogs. Okay? They can't feed themselves, go buy a job, get a job and buy a house. They can't do that. So that's the difference there. So when she puts this, my first thought is, first, your dog's in an animal shelter. Why the fuck? Second of all, I know why she was euthanized. Okay, the dog, at the age of 5, you've had her since she was a puppy. She had a family, she had a home, she had a life, and then one day woke up and she was in a cage. Somebody didn't want her anymore. Not only does that frustrate a dog, but she's confused, she's scared. She's gonna do whatever it takes, survival kicks in. She doesn't know what else to do. She doesn't know these people. She doesn't know if they're trying to help them, because the people that she relied on aren't there anymore. Okay, so the last thing you do is blame the dog, clearly, and she doesn't blame the dog in the comments. I'm reading the comments. And what triggered me to become so passionate about this post was that there was one person that stood up to her. One. And when I say to her, I'm talking about the owner, the woman that's claiming, oh, they killed my dog. She put her on blast, said, this is on you, man. This isn't on whoever took the dog to the shelter, whatever. This is on you. And clearly the girl knows her laws, as I do. You know what I mean? So it's not, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how animal shelters work. You can Google it. Fuck. Like, it's easy. And what triggered me was there was at least 20 people on there that were defending the owner. They were like, oh no, you don't know what happened, blah, 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 blah. I don't need to know what happened. I know how they work. Like, I'm not dumb. So at this point there were like 50 comments. Everybody defending this girl. I'm so proud of you. You did the right thing. Da, 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 da. As a pet owner and having 3 dogs, one being rescue, I can tell you, if anything happened to my baby, my beeps, man, let me tell you, I wouldn't replace her in a week. I wouldn't replace her in a day. I wouldn't replace her in a year. I doubt I'd get over it. I guess that's my ride or die, man. And she's only 3. I haven't had her for 5 years. I didn't raise her with my children, with my husband in my home. I didn't do those things. Yet that's how passionately I feel about her, because she's my family. Just as anybody would about their, why get a pet if you're not going to treat them like your family? So I'm reading through these comments, and I chime in. I'm right there with all of them. Yeah, I'm right there with her, and I'm like, look, I completely agree with this girl. It's your fault. Like, I don't even feel bad for you anymore. Keep in mind, me and her have not been friends for years. Like, I haven't had any reason to talk to her for any reason at all. I don't want to. I have no desire to talk to her. So, people are getting tougher and tougher and defending themselves. Keep in mind, I'm working a full-time job. I had woke up, I was bussing tables, I was running food, and checking my phone, like, what's going on, because this is something I'm passionate about, right? Towards the end of our conversation, before she deleted the status, because that's what a coward would do, somebody says, you don't know. Everybody keeps saying you have no idea. You don't know the story. Do you want me to know the story? Do you want me to call the animal shelter and find out what happened? Do you want me to put you on blast? Well, I did. I took time out of my day to call the animal shelter and really figure out what happened to this poor baby. This helpless animal. Couldn't do it for herself. Had to be euthanized. You know what I mean? So I called the animal shelter. Keep in mind, I'm still at work. I haven't even left work yet. Okay, this is how much I care. I haven't even left work. Boyfriend hasn't picked me up. I haven't left. Animal shelter answers. Okay. I start to explain to them what's going on social media. You know, yada, yada, yada. Then I explain to them why I'm calling and say, hey, I only want to know because she just adopted a dog from another animal shelter. Well, of course, the director there is pissed. That's a no-go. You don't do that. You don't surrender one dog and then go adopt another one from another place. That makes you garbage. That makes you a douchebag. There's nobody but you to blame for that. So once I tell her, she then proceeds to read off the file on when the dog arrived and when the dog was euthanized. Her beloved family member that she tried so hard to get sat there for a month and a half before they killed her. A month and a half. And tried to get her to come get her. They tried. And I put money on it. If she would have walked in there and said, oh, I'm here to pick my dog up, and they let her out and she ran up to her and gave her kisses and stuff, this aggressive dog, they wouldn't have even needed to sign any paperwork. Probably would have waived the adoption fee because they don't want to kill the dogs. That's not, people who rescue animals have no desire whatsoever. It's completely selfless. We have no desire whatsoever. We don't want to make any money. And people who do, they're another problem. That's a whole other subject. Because there are people out there who flip dogs all the time. They'll drive, pick up a litter, fix them up, and then sell every single one of them and make money out of it. They'll flip them, and that's just as bad as people who, you know, have dog kennels and believe in puppy mills and shit. Like, I'm not about that life either. Let's not get me started on that. So once they told me how long she was there, I say, okay, thank you for the information. I will be contacting the other animal shelter. As I stated earlier in this video, I know everybody who works at the other animal shelter. So of course when I call and I'm like, hey, can I speak with the director? I'm not going to say your name. Might give away the animal shelter. They're like, sure, yeah. And they forward me over to her and she's like, hey, what's, you know, and we start talking and I tell her my name. Weirdly enough, she knows who I am. Why would she know who I am? Because I've been going there since like 2006 and I've probably put in close to 100 to 300 somewhere. I mean, there was quite a few hours I spent at that animal shelter. I didn't like being home when I was in high school. What can I say? I loved being at the animal shelter. I loved being around animals when I was a kid. So I loved it there. You know, my aunt used to work for the vet that runs the clinic there. They know me. They know me, bro. So when I'm telling her, like, the whole situation, first thing she says is what animal shelter did her dog pass away at? Because she's going to call and verify. Secondly, she wants the information that I know already. And if the girl gives her any lip, she wants the screenshots. Because I've screenshotted the whole conversation before she deleted the status because that's how social media works. I can tell you everything about this girl's life because of social media because she's an idiot. Okay? You don't want to put on blast. Don't do dumb shit, man. You don't want to be marked as garbage. Don't do things that make you garbage. Like, I don't understand. And I'm all about, you see something, you say something. I stood up for somebody who couldn't stand up for themselves, and although the poor puppy's not here anymore, and she probably had it rough for the last month and a half that she lived, I feel like there was justice. Like, I did something to possibly prevent her from adopting another animal. People like that shouldn't have animals. If you're going to be an irresponsible pet owner, you shouldn't have them, period. Like, shouldn't have pets at all. It's a shame. It really is a shame. And when I say see something, say something, that goes for anything from child neglect to animal abuse to a man hitting a woman or a woman hitting a man or any of those things. Anything that can be prevented in this sad, sad world, because most everything that happens can be prevented. And it just sucks, man. People suck. And I want to spread awareness because I don't want this to be somebody else's dog. Could you imagine if you're stuck in a predicament where you honestly can't do it, where you just cannot handle the dog, whether it's a puppy or you can't afford training, or let's say you're moving and you have a dog and you have kids and your dog's potty trained and you can't take her with you because it's an apartment. There are people out there who want those dogs. What animal shelters do, even though they're doing the best that they can, will traumatize these animals for life. Going from being in a home to a concrete floor is traumatic. It's like being spoiled to being and like poverty. Like you don't come back from that shit. You don't mentally, physically, you just don't come back from it. And dogs, they don't live as long as we do. That's why my dogs are spoiled. They run. They get anything that they want, anytime they want it. You have the keys to my car, I have the keys. I mean, I know you can't drive it. You know, we can get the door for you. Like, it's sad. Especially because I know a lot of people who are animal activists. Yet the whole time I was commenting and, you know, saying, hey, look, these are problems. People were like, well, where were you when she, you know, needed somewhere to keep her? Well, nobody called me. Knowing I run a rescue, knowing that I have the property, knowing that I have the kennels, knowing that I have everything that I need to help you, you didn't call me. But you needed help that bad, right? I just don't understand. I don't get it. But please like, comment, share. If you see something, say something.